In this video, I will walk you through how to add WooCommerce to an Elementor website. In order to follow these instructions, you will need to have Elementor Pro installed and licensed on your site. If you've used my services and you got the Elementor for Writers theme, then you already have this licensed, so you should be good to go. So when you go to plugins, if you scroll down the list, you should see Elementor and Elementor Pro. So you need to have those two here in order to follow the instructions in this video. Now the very first step will be to add WooCommerce. As you see here, it's not installed, it's a plugin, it's a free plugin. So I'm going to click on the Add New button at the top. I'm going to look for WooCommerce like this in one word. And this is the one here. So I'm going to install that. And by the way, I'm going to talk about Facebook for WooCommerce in a separate video. This video here will just show you how to set up WooCommerce, set up your cart, set up your checkout, and your store. But there are more videos that you should watch below this one if you're looking at it on my gocreate.me website. So once the plugin is installed, we can activate it. So this is where you can go through the process of entering this information now, or you can skip it and do it later. So I'm just going to skip this and refer to another video that I recorded where I talk about entering your shipping information, your taxes, and all of that. Again, I'm opting out of there. What I want to show you is if you go to pages, now by installing WooCommerce, the plugin has added new pages. We've got a cart page, we have a checkout page, we also have a My Account page and a shop page. These pages did not exist, and as you can see here, I did not create them. It was WooCommerce that added them. But if we view those pages, they're nothing super fancy. We can design those pages with Elementor Pro to make them look a little prettier. So first of all, I'm going to just create a product very quickly here. You can refer to another video where I show you how to create products. I'm just going to go to products, add new. I'm going to pick an image for that. I'm also going to give it a product short description. This one appears above, typically with the default WooCommerce setup. And under here, I'm just going to give it a price. Maybe this is $9.99. If it's a physical product, I need to give it weight and dimensions. Again, that's all discussed in a separate video. So I'm just going to publish it like this for now. So I have a product. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to duplicate this. And demo product 2, and I will change the image. And this one maybe will be $3.99. If I go back to my list of pages and I look at the shop, I should now have 2 products. So the appearance of this is not necessarily ideal, but that's the default here. And if I click on one of the demo products, then this is also the default. If I decide to add it to the cart, it's been added to the cart. I can view my cart. That's what it looks like by default. Yours will look different, but this is the gist of how it works. If I decide to proceed to checkout, that's the information that WooCommerce requires. And then you need to connect PayPal or Stripe or some other payment gateway that will collect the money for you. Again, refer to a separate video for that where I talk about connecting PayPal. But this video here is about creating prettier pages for your products, for your shop, for your checkout, for your cart using Elementor Pro. To make my life easier here, I'm just going to quickly add my menu to put the shop as an item. So I'm going to hover over this, look at menus, and these pages were created. They are part of pages. I'm just going to add this here, and that's fine. So now when I go to the front end, I can actually see my shop directly from the homepage. So I'm going to start with designing this page here. When you work your way down to templates, theme builder, here you see various template types that we can create. So we could create the single product, the product archive. So the shop is technically a product archive page. So I'm going to add a new product archive, and I'm going to call it shop. You can call it whatever you want. And you can pick from one of theirs here, or you can create your own. So I'm just going to close this. So this is my page here, and if I click on this icon in the top right, I can drag and drop any of the default widgets to create a product archive page. So you can drag the archive title. If you click on that, you can include the context, which is the words before the colon. Or if it's a shop category, for example, you've created product categories for merchandise, ebooks, audiobooks, then it would say category, ebooks. So up to you if you want to include the context or not. If you click here, you can also give it a fallback, put some words before or after the default category name. Now below that, I'm going to include the products. So I can drag and drop the archive products. You can play with some of the settings here as you see fit. So if I show the result count, it's for this line that appeared here showing all 2 results. You can turn that on or off if you want to. And this allow order triggers this default sorting or not. So if you don't want people to be able to reorder the products using that drop-down menu that is built in with WooCommerce, then you can disable that feature here. Under advanced, you also control the wording in case there's no products in this category. And under style, this is where you can look at things. You can play with the column gaps, the row gaps, so if you've got a lot of products. And again, you control the number of products by going through your settings, which is described in a separate video. But you decide if you want to put an image border, and you can control the thickness of that border. You also control the color of that border. You can also make them rounded. So if you make them 10 pixels, you notice now that I've got rounded corners. These are ugly here. I'm not recommending these colors at all. I'm just explaining what is possible. You also control the color of your product title, whatever typography. If you click the globe, this lets you pick from the global fonts that were already selected for your theme, or you can pick something here. Be careful not to load too many fonts because that really slows down your site. Rating is if you've enabled ratings within WooCommerce. Again, that's discussed in a separate video. You can choose what color those stars would be, and what color the empty stars would be, which white over white would not be good, but you can play with the colors here. You can choose the size of them. If there's a price, you can control the color of it. You can also control the typography. You can make it really big, really small. If it's on sale versus regular price. The buttons, so the add to cart button, you can change the text color. So maybe I want to make this like this over a dark background. And you also control the hover color. So maybe the color will go orange over this. So when I hover, it changes. Or you can make it be like that. You can also give it a border. So I can do solid border. And now if I make it be 2 pixels, and the border color is right here. So I'll make it orange just so you see it. On hover, normal, I should really make them match. If you put a border, it's best to do it the same way. You also control the spacing of that button. You also control the padding on the button itself. So if you want very small buttons, you can reduce that spacing. You can leave it be the default. You also control if you want those rounded corners or not. There's a box around each product. So by turning on the box shadow, you see the box here. I can give it some padding. So now it's like a card that I'm creating with 20 pixels all the way around individual products, and the drop shadow tells you that this is one item. You can also control how those buttons look. If I go back to the buttons, you can control the alignment of the entire card here by centering it, left align, right align. So centering it kind of looks nice if you've created cards like this. You also can make those cards have rounded corners if you wanted to. You can change the background color of it. You can change the border color. And then you would need to give it a width if you decide to put a border. Now, pagination happens when you've got more than a number of products that you've set up your shop or your product category to display. So if I have more, then there would be stuff visible here. So I can control how far out this goes. So this is easier to modify once you have more products. You can also play with some of the sale appearance in case you decide to put some products on sale. WooCommerce supports the regular price as well as the sales price. So if you decide to put something on sale, then you will see something different here. So I'm just going to click Update. And I'm going to click on the hamburger menu, exit to dashboard in a separate tab so that I can go and modify one of my products to show you that. So if I quick edit this, and I'm going to give it a sales price of $1.99. I'm going to update. And now if I just refresh this, Control R, or you could use the arrow in your browser, you now see that this is the sale flash I was trying to modify. So if I click back on the pencil and go back to Style and go back to Sale Flash, I can change this. So I can make the text be blue, the background can maybe be orange, or whatever color you decide to use, you can pick here. If you don't like any of that, you can change it by changing this, and then you can pick a different color within this area. You can even reduce the opacity if you wanted to. So there's a lot you can do here. If you wanted to save this color, reuse it, you click plus and then rename it here. And now I can pick other things to be this exact same pink. Again, you get to pick what typography this is here. Don't make it too big. You can readjust the size so that it looks nice. I'm just going to default back to what it was before because it was centered. You can also control the border radius. If you don't like it to be a circle, you can make it a square. You can make it wider. You can make it taller. You can make it on the left as opposed to on the right. And you also decide what distance that should be. So there's a lot that you can do here with the individual products, the way you want to display them using Elementor. So whenever you're done, click Update. The very first time you save this, it will ask you where you want to display your template. So by default here, I chose all product archives, but you can create a different one for search results, different one for product categories, a different one for your shop. I'm going to use this version for everything except my shop. So I'm going to save and close that. I'm going to click the hamburger menu to exit. And now I'm going to go back to Theme Builder, and I'm actually going to rename this because this is really a product archive. That's just my template itself. And now I will add a brand new product archive, and this will be for the entire shop. If I wanted to, I could use one of their templates. If you decide to go this route, it's possible you'll need to create your own account on Elementor. I'm just going to click My Templates, and I'm going to reuse my product archive that I just created. I'm going to say yes to this, but I'm going to modify this. So this particular one here, instead of having the archive title, I'm going to click on the widget and I'm going to drag and drop a heading, and I'm going to call it My Store. This one here is an H1. This one here is an H2. So I'm going to change it to be an H1. And now it looks like that. I can right click to copy and right click to paste the style. So I make sure it's the same. I'm going to delete this one here. So you can right click on various items here, clicking on the individual pencils for the widgets. You can also trigger the navigator and make it visible here. So I've got one section that is full width. I've got one section here that also includes just the one column. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add a column. So I can right click on here and then add new column. I'm going to adjust this. Sometimes you can drag and drop like this. Sometimes you just need to click on the column, and in the layout you can then decide this is going to be 75% and this column here is going to be 25%. There's a tiny bit that gets lost somewhere, but that's basically it. And then this one, in this column, I'm just going to move my navigator away. I'm going to go back to my list of widgets. I can drag and drop other things. I can right below the title, maybe I want to drag and drop the WooCommerce crumbs. So if people click on those, it lets you navigate. Going back to the widgets, maybe I want to use the product categories, and maybe I want to put them listed here so people can navigate. I can also put the menu cart so you see what is in your cart right now. I'm going to remove this one. So you can look, explore a little bit, see what else you can feature some products. So this one is different than the archive products. So if I drag and drop the products here, when you click on the products, you control which products should appear here. So if you only wanted some products to appear on your main store page, you could decide only feature the ones that are on sale, manually select them. So if you manually select them, then you have to start typing them. So my demo product, I can also look at my demo product. So these would be the two products. You can do that, and then you can sort them by whatever you want, menu order, by price, by title, by popularity. So that's a way to manually select things. I don't recommend you do that, because if you decide to do the manual route, then you have to remember to edit your store every time you add a product. So that's not the best way to go. So the archive product is probably ideal. And maybe in this column here, I don't like the fact that it's left aligned. So I can click on the column itself and the horizontal alignment, make it be in the center. And I can also look at my cart item and make it be in the center. So there's always one way that you can make things appear in the center. If you decide to go the two-column approach like that, make sure to check it in responsive mode and change the device here. So that's what it would look like on a tablet, and you can collapse this tab here on the left to give you a view of it, and then you can also do the same with mobile. So now you see that the cart appears below, the sidebar appears below the main area. The sidebar widget that I have in here, as you can see, there's some options that you can play with. You can choose a different icon. You can also choose, that one is very confusing. I do like the little bubble myself, but you don't necessarily need to put that. If that bothers you, you can remove it. You can hide the cart if it's empty. You can also show the subtotal or not. So just play with the widgets, drag and drop things as you see fit. So I'm just going to hit publish. And this one, I'm going to give a condition of only appearing on the shop page. So now if I go back here and I refresh this, then I have this as my store. Products categories. So there's this one here. Both products are in this one. If I view this page, you see that it's using my other template that does not have this sidebar. And if I hover here, you see that it is using the product archive product. If I go to the shop page and I hover over this, you see that I'm using the entire shop archive. So at any time you can click on this, make modifications to it. So I'm going to go to the back end and look at my pages. So that's the cart here. I can view it. That's what it looks like. By default, I have this sidebar, but maybe you don't want the page with sidebar, because right now if I hover, it is using my page with sidebar template. Yours may be called something different, but these are the global templates that impact this page. So Right now, I cannot edit this page with Elementor because it was never ever edited once with Elementor. But if you click on Edit Page first, then you can click the button to edit with Elementor. And now I can decide to give it a different look and not use the default page with sidebar. Because my theme here uses page with sidebar for all my pages, unless I've decided otherwise, if I click on the gear icon in the bottom left, this is where the page layout is the default one, which is my page with sidebar. But I could decide to do Elementor full width. Now when I do that, notice that the sidebar is gone. If I just update this and I get out of it, although it was showing me shortcode, it is in fact still the same thing. So now, because I've edited it in Elementor before, now I can click here. If you don't like the default color here, there's different ways we can go about this. There's lots of premium plugins you could buy that could help you change things. There's possibly some free add-ons to Elementor, but there's so many of them out there. But if it's just the color that's bothering you, so I'm gonna add a new plugin here. I'm gonna look for WooCommerce colors, and this is the one here, will allow you to change the button colors. So that's the easiest way if you're only hoping to change the button colors. So now I can activate this. And this will give me extra options under Appearance, Customize, WooCommerce. Now there's two sections here, and this is the button that is being retrieved here. So I can change this to be whatever color. So this is not talking to Elementor. So if you have the hex code, you can use an exact hex code. And then if I refresh here, that you see that this is now red. So this is how you can change the colors of those buttons by default. But otherwise, the cart page can stay the same. If you wanted it to have a sidebar, you could put in a sidebar, perhaps with other products that you may want to recommend. So if you want to upsell them, up to you. But there's also the risk that you'll distract them. They may forget to check out. If you wanted to add a column, you can just right click, add a column, adjust the content as you see fit, put in whatever other content in the sidebar. You could drag a specific product if you wanted to. There's various widgets here. When you start typing, you see that there's various things that you can put in your sidebar. If you don't want the card to take full width, you can also do this, but leave the right column empty. Click Update. When you're done, that's the cart page. If you exit to dashboard, I can look quickly at my checkout page. So now you see that this one was edited with Elementor. The checkout page was not, so it doesn't say edit with Elementor. But if I wanted to, I can click edit and then edit with Elementor. So again, this one here has the default page template with the sidebar. I don't want that. They're about to pay me. I don't want to distract them with this sidebar. So I'm going to click in the settings, the bottom left icon here that looks like a gear icon. I'm going to change the page layout from default to Elementor full width, and I'm doing update. And that should be good now. I'm just going to click update. So my button, because I changed the color, it's also red in here. So now let's play with the most important one, your individual product page. So right now, if I click on one product, if I view my products, and if I click here to view this sample product, this is the default layout for WooCommerce, but we can create a custom layout with Elementor. So from here, I could go to Theme Builder again, or I'm just going to get out of this. I could go to just below Elementor, there's Templates, Theme Builder. This takes me to the same place. And this time I'm going to go to Single Product, and I'm going to add a new single product. So if you wanted to use different templates for ebooks versus audiobooks versus merchandise, you could do that. So here I'm just going to call it Default Product. because I want to enable that product for all of my categories, but you could select something else. If you like one of them here, feel free to include one of the templates they offer as a starting point, and then you could modify it. So these require the Elementor Pro license in order to do that. So I can insert that one. And it's possible it will prompt you to log into Elementor to create an account in order to do that. But once it's in here, you see that this is one section at the top here, which includes 2 columns. And if I expand all of the information here, again, if you don't see the navigator, it's the second item in the left. This triggers the navigator. You can drag and drop it anywhere to move it. So this image here is very large for my needs, so I may want to drag and drop to reduce that. We can see here that this is a product image. You can control the border radius. So as you can see here, I've made rounded corners on it, or maybe you want to keep them square. You control the spacing for various things. There's also thumbnails that would appear below it if you've got extra gallery images, but I don't have those right now. On the right, I've got the breadcrumbs, but they're kind of below. That's because in my column, I see that I have all of this padding here. If I remove it, or maybe I want to make it 20, so things are lined up. So you can play with padding. The padding inside the column is the spacing inside the border up to the widget. So this is the product title. You could change the appearance of it, pick different text color. This here is the product rating. In this case, I don't have one, so that's why it's not visible, but you can choose the star color. Same with the description. This is the short description that I put in at the very bottom when editing the page, but you control how it looks. If you want it centered, justified, if you want it in a specific text color. Then you've got the product price. Again, you can play with the color, the typography. If you want stacked or side by side, what's the spacing there? There's so many things you can change. Add to cart. This one here will let us change the button color. So you can make it be whatever color you changed your WooCommerce buttons to be. And don't forget there's a hover color, and always check it by moving your mouse to see if you like the effect. And then below that, we have a second section. So the second section includes related products here. We also have upsells. These are things that you select at the product level when you go through your product settings. There's product data, and you can connect other products that you want to upsell. So if you've selected anything, it would appear here. And there's the default product title, product meta information, what category it's in, what SKU did you assign it, if you've assigned any. If you've got merchandise, a SKU would be assigned to it. And then these are the tabs that are default by WooCommerce, but you control the appearance of that, and you can adjust it as you see fit. So this is the active tab. So by changing it here, now it's changing it. But normally there would be more than one tabs, and that's the first normal was the hidden color if it's the one behind it. And then this active tab is for the one that is currently selected, with this tab being in the front. So there's various widgets that you can play with, that you can drag and drop. Whenever you design a new template, always check it on mobile devices here by switching the tablet and then the cell phone. Go through it, make changes as you see fit. Many of those things here have a device-specific little icon that lets you know you can change things for tablet versus cell phone versus desktop, and that's how you can play with things. At any time you can collapse this tab, and it makes you see the live site more accurately than when you have this open with various boxes that may clutter it. So you can really do a lot of things with WooCommerce and Elementor, and there's even more plugins that you can add on that will let you do more with Elementor and make you modify various parts and give you more widgets. Just be careful to not install too many plugins, because at the end of the day, the more plugins you install, the greater the risk that one of them eventually could have a vulnerability and a hacker could gain access to your site if you don't keep your plugins up to date. And then when you're happy, click publish, add condition. This is going to apply to all of my products. But if you did not want to do this, you could decide only do product in this category and then select ebooks. You need to first create the categories and then you can select them here. So the only one I could select right now would be uncategorized because that's the only one I have. But you could include or exclude various type of products. So if it's a tag, a category by author, and that's not your pen name author, that's just whoever created the product in WordPress. That's what the author means here. So if you've got your VA creating certain things and she wants a different template versus you, you can create multiple product template and use them based on when you need them to appear. So I'm just going to get out, clicking on that, exiting to dashboard, go back to the front end of my site. And now if I look at my shop, and if I click on this product, now you see that this is my new layout here with the different thing. I can add things to cart, and I added the related product to the cart. I can add this one to the cart. Now I can view my cart, and I've got those things. I can make changes. I've got my red button. I can proceed to checkout, and I can't check out because I haven't connected PayPal. But again, if you're watching this video on my GoCreate.me website for the Elementor specific page, below this section you will see general videos about WooCommerce, how to set up your store, how to enter your shipping address, your tax rates, how to connect your Facebook pixel, and all of that. And last but not least, don't forget that if you're currently offering your books on your site and pointing to the major retailers out there, if you have WooCommerce installed on your WordPress site and you've got BookFunnel connected as a delivery system for your ebooks and possibly audiobooks, then you can now edit your individual book pages and include My Store as an option as to where to get the ebook, possibly the print book if you plan on shipping those yourself. As of right now, there's no real easy way where it's all automated. You have to order them from Amazon or relay the order to Ingram Spark. There's no magical button for the print just yet. But for ebook and audiobook, you can fully automate those by connecting them to your WooCommerce store. So this here is using my Elementor for Writers template. If you're an Elementor for Writers user who purchased one of my themes, you can edit your book and you will find the section where you can put retailer links. So in here, instead of saying Amazon for this, I can just say My Store. And then I would look at my products. I'm opening them in a new tab here. And let's pretend this was the ebook. I can just view this product. This is the URL for the ebook, let's say. And then I'm going to put this here. And then I can just update this. I could do the same with the audiobooks. I could have changed one of the URLs and make it point to the audiobook version of the product. So when I view this book now, if somebody wants to get the ebook from my store, they just click on that and then it directs them to the product page where they can add it to their cart. So if you have the book in a different format, do the same. Each format would point them to a different product. So watch the other videos below this one here on my GoCreate.me website to learn more about how this is all connected. So good luck with this. WooCommerce has a lot of features. It's a very complex plugin, but it is also very powerful and can help you increase your author earnings.